Welcome back here on Joyful Praise, and it's that time where we introduce our beautiful guest in studio with us this morning. Good morning, Janelle Thomas, and welcome to Joyful Praise.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here today.
How are you doing today?
I'm good.
That's good. All right, well, today you're here to share with our listeners a little bit more who Janelle Thomas is, your musical journey, and what's next. So before we get into the what's next part that I'm really excited about, tell us, who is Janelle Thomas?
All right, for those who do not know me, my name is Janelle Thomas. I am 28 years of age. I am from Glen. I've lived there all my life. I am a Christian, first and foremost. By day, I am a teacher. I teach at the Bishop's College, Kingston, geography and history. And in my spare time, I love to read, listen to music, go to the beach, and just have fun with my friends. I've been a Christian since the age of 12. Just like everybody else, I've had, my days of rebellious, times, but I'm glad that God has kept me, and I'm thankful for his grace, which is what my name means. Janelle, it means God's grace, and every time someone calls my name, it reminds me of how much he loves me, so I'm grateful for that.
Wonderful. And you are one of the outstanding vocalists, the band Called Out.
Yes, I am.
Tell us about your experience with Called Out, how you joined Called Out, how you come about being part of Called Out, and your journey with Called Out.
All right, now that's a very interesting story. Well, I started singing in church. That's the Hilltop Tabernacle. It's a member church of the Pentecostal Assemblies of the West Indies. And that's where my talent was harnessed. And we had a concert, I think, I had to sing at. And I remember Alfonso Sleepy Richards, who is the director of Called Out. At that point, he was also the director of the SVG Mass Choir. And after I sang, he came to me and he asked my mother to send me to Mass Choir practice. But I was very young at the time, and in terms of transportation and so on, I would not have been able to make it back home and so on. And years after, I entered a new song competition in which I placed second. And he came to me again and he asked my mom again to send me, which she did because I had company at that point. And since then, joining the SVG Mass Choir, I was one of the youngest members there. And that's where I learned a lot from. So I owe a lot of what I know and where I am today to Sleepy. And after he decided to not necessarily end, but, end that chapter of the SVG Mass Choir, he then started the group Called Out, which is basically a group that has some of the best, not all, but some of the best singers, gospel singers, that is in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And so I'm very honored to be a part of that group. And we go all over St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we'll be traveling to the Barbados Gospel Fest this year at the end of this month in May as well. And it's a group that has a lot of dynamic personalities, and I'm really happy to be a part of that group. It helps us to bond, and we show our versatility because everybody is a singer and they're a minister in their own right, but we do that in our own special and unique way.
And this is not the first time Called Out is represented in St. Vincent.
No, this is actually our second year.
The second year.
Yes.
The first year with Called Out and, ministering in Barbados, what was that experience like?
It was surreal for me. I've been holding a mic since the age of around 8 or 9, standing in front of crowds, and people would expect that you do not get nervous. But, well, before I go and sing, I always do. There are just those little butterflies that enter just before I get on stage. And that afternoon when we left the apartment where we were staying, I was totally quiet, and the only person who picked it up was my mom, who was there. My parents were there as well, and she saw that I was nervous. And it's not the first time I represented St. Vincent or God overseas, but it was really a special feeling, being a part of another country's gospel festival. And, it's a new stage, it's a different stage, it's a bigger stage, and you're singing on the same stage with international artists. So last year we shared the stage with Hezekiah Walker and Ty Tribbett, and that's truly huge. An honor. That's huge. Yes, definitely, because I'm thinking, little me from such a small island, being on the same stage with these artists, it was really an honor.
All right.
Yes.
Tomorrow night, you're launching your brand.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
All right. Well, last year, to travel to Barbados, I decided to have a fundraising concert. And Called Out is not the only group that I sing with. So the idea last year was to bring together all of the groups and all the people that I've worked with. I also sing with Thomas, which is a group of ladies that was started by the late Pat Prescott. Sing with Called Out. I was a member of the Voices of Victory Gospel Band as well.
Great.
And I've backed up a lot of people, both local, regional, and international.
Yes.
Fenton Harry, who I'm sure was on this program before.
Yes.
Kyoka Crookshank, Stacey Little, regional artists like Lieutenant Stitchy, who was here the other day. Internationally, Zena Edwards, Tasha Cobbs, and Atabuefo. So I've done a lot of singing, and I wanted to bring all those groups and people together in one place. It was not just about raising funds and making money, but to show people, okay, when people ask me, what are you doing? And I'm saying to them, I have practice. And they're always asking me, what are you practicing for? And so I wanted them to see, this is what I do. Because music is my life, it's my passion, and it's what I'm really, really good at. And one of my mottos is that music is what feeling sounds like. Right? So this year, we're traveling again, and I wanted to do something different. Yes, it's still fundraising, but this year, I don't want to say coincidentally, but it just so happened that, for the past couple of months, God has been doing something in my life and really speaking to me. We've been having a lot of chats lately.
Right.
And people were saying to me, it's time for you to go out on your own and become a solo artist, but I wasn't ready yet.
Right.
And it's not that I did not have the talent. I do. I have the exposure, and I have a lot of people around me who would assist, but I wasn't ready yet because the timing wasn't the time, really.
Right.
So, he laid on my spirit that, it is time. And there were certain things that needed to happen, certain things that needed to be in place, certain people needed to be a part of my life as well. And, my new catchphrase now is divinely orchestrated. So everything is being divinely orchestrated, just leading up to this particular moment. So tomorrow night, although I started out as a solo artist and then I joined different groups, I am now starting or launching my own brand, Janelle Thomas, and I earned the nickname Songbird,
right,
or Lark. That name was given to me by one of my former pastors, Pastor Kirby Jackson,
okay,
when he was here in St. Vincent. And everywhere we went, he would introduce me as the Songbird, and he gave me that name and it stuck with me. So I'm basically just, launching my brand, and this is who I am, and just telling people look out for the album very soon.
Great.
Yes.
Well, any insights about the album? Because that's what I was going to ask you about next.
I have not recorded anything as yet. Right now, I am in the process of songwriting. A couple years ago, I wrote 2 songs, and that was just it. And I had those 2 songs for a while, but a couple months ago, I went home from school, from work, and I sat there and I wrote about 8 songs, different songs. There were songs of praise, worship, testimony, I even wrote a love song, and right now I'm working, along with different people to put music to them and arrange them and so on. So very soon in the near future, I will be, recording and so on. Right now, I'm working along with other artists. I do backups as well, so I'm just getting the feel for the studio.
All right, so great. We look forward to your album.
Thank you so much.
Before you go, what words of encouragement do you have for young men and women here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines in relation to the importance and loving God and having God in your life?
Most definitely, based on my experience, I've grown up in church. I've been in church all my life. But as I said, I had my period, of rebellion. And I'll tell people this. I've experienced both worlds. And when you're out in the world, yes, you have fun. I'm not going to lie about that. Sin can be fun. It can be enjoyable. But the thing is, it doesn't last. You always have to keep going and going and going. And, one day I sat down and I was thinking, I'm saying, I'm not accustomed to this. This is not the life that I know. This is not the life that I was taught. And I've tried it and it's not working. Sometimes you look at yourself, and I just said, I've weighed this and it has been found wanting, this life. So, I decided to recommit my life to God, and it has been wonderful. It's the best decision I made. And so I would encourage persons who are Christians now, young people, to stay with God, because He can keep you and He will keep you. All right? As you were mentioning just now in Jeremiah 29:11, He knows the plans that He has for you.
That's right.
And there are some times when you may feel discouraged and you cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel. The thing that I like, or I love about God, is that He gives me that calm assurance that He will take care of me.
That's right.
And I'll give you a little experience. I returned from studying at UWI in 2009. Normally when you come back home, you expect you're gonna get a good job, and you're really excited about what life is gonna be like. I know that dream and those goals that you have, and I didn't get the job that I wanted. And the job that I have now, which is teaching, I never saw myself there. Although I'm very good at my job. But for a period of time, because I did not get what I wanted, I was very sad. I was really depressed at one point. And, I'm a very goal-oriented person. So the things that I worked towards, I had gotten them up to that point. But then it took me a while to realize that God wanted to get me to the place where He's saying, I will take care of you. I have plans for you.
That's right.
I know what I have for you. They're not thoughts of evil. Although you might think that, things are not working out right now. And He had to bring me to that place where He took away everything, basically. I thought I could handle everything, and He just took all of that away until I got to the point where, I had to totally depend on Him, and that's exactly where He wants us to be.
True.
And so I just want to share a little bit about the idea for the concert tomorrow, the launch. The theme is overflow, the worship experience. And it says, God anoints us in the presence of our enemies. He equips us to live in the abundance of the overflow. There is a place in God where there is no lack. That place is in Christ Jesus, who came to bring us life and more abundant life. This life is better than we ever dreamed of. Imagine a place where there is only abundance. There is no lack whatsoever in this great place in God. God anoints us to be able to live in this overflow where He is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask, dream, think, or even imagine. God has anointed us to live in the overflow where there is no lack. And that's something that, I want people to come tomorrow expecting. So it's not just a concert where, we sing and, it's about raising funds and so on. I want persons to come expecting a word from God, whether it is that you need healing or you need confirmation. It's not just about His presence, but we need an overflow as well, where there is abundance. And that is something that is lacking in many of us, even as Christians. And I was saying, that's my encouragement to those who are already Christians, but those who are not. If you don't know something, then you won't understand it. But my advice to anyone, try it. Try the Christian life. If it doesn't work for you, then you can say, okay, I tried it and it didn't work. But I can assure you that it will work.
It will.
Because I have tried it, and I've tried both. And this is the only thing that works for me.
Wonderful.
So that's my encouragement to our young people.
A perfect way to end our session here today on Joy for Praise. And I want to wish you all the best tomorrow evening.
Yes.
And also, pray for God's your traveling mercies to Barbados with the others as you minister at the Barbados Gospel Fest at the ending of the month. And we look forward to your dynamic ministry through song.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Janelle Thomas, for joining us today on Joy for Praise.
Yes, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome.